Welcome to the You're Not Crazy podcast, hosted by Jessica Knight, a certified life coach who specializes in healing from narcissistic and emotional abuse. This podcast is intended to help you identify manipulative and abusive behavior, set boundaries with yourself and others, and heal the relationship with yourself so you can learn to love in a healthy way. You can connect with Jessica and find additional resources, content, and coaching at emotionalabusecoach.com.
Hello and welcome back, and thank you so much for being here. I had a comment asking me recently when guests are going to return back to the podcast, and I've been wondering the same, honestly. The reason that there haven't been as many guests and interviews, and my favorite guest and your favorite guest, Paul Coliani, is because, well, I'm a single mom and I take clients throughout the day. And in order to record a guest, that has to happen during the day while my daughter is at school. And if I have clients all day, I'm going to prioritize that over getting the guests on the podcast because that is where my income comes from. This podcast is a free offering. As you know, it's very rare that there's any sort of ad, and those ads usually amount to about maybe $13 when there are one, which just goes right back to paying for the hosting. So guests, I'm working on bringing them back soon, especially as the summer opens up some more of the schedule. But no other reason than just needing to prioritize my one-on-one clients, which I think if you're here and if you listen, you hear me say that in various ways a lot. It's very important to me. And so before I dive into this episode, I want to just go over the fine print. If you would like to work with me, you can find me at emotionalabusecoach.com or at high-conflictdivorcecoaching.com. You can find me on Instagram at emotionalabusecoach and on Substack. If you search Jessica Knight Coaching, all of these links are in my show notes. I have courses that are available on my website, both on divorce and emotional abuse. I also have a private podcast series called Unhooked, which is available to you by going to emotionalabusecoach.com. Everything that I offer is on Thinkific. It's a platform similar to Kajabi where other people post their courses. So if you're interested in that, you can head over to my website and everything will direct you to those sources. If you have any questions, you can always email me and reach out. Today, I want to talk about the topic of when everything feels like a misunderstanding. This is about how abusers can use confusion to confuse our own intentions and their intentions to maintain control. And I don't know where this quote is from, and so I'm going to say it, but I'm going to be honest with you. This is something I found written in one of my journals. I know it's not from me. It's definitely from a book, but I want to read it because it sort of led to me thinking about this episode. But source currently unknown. It goes like this. An abuser will condition you to believe that if something seems wrong, it's not intentional. They make it seem like everything is a giant misunderstanding or an accident as a way to avoid accountability and maintain control. And abusers don't need to just always have the sense of force for victims. And I think that's what makes emotional abuse so confusing because they rely on subtle tactics. It's especially the tactic of making us confused. And sometimes they do this without even planning to do it. It's just unintentional. It's like they're just so used to denying our reality that they don't even try to make it any different. Emotional manipulation in the form of gaslighting, constant denial, it does make you feel like you're always misinterpreting things. Like everything is your fault. Nothing is ever as it seems. And if this sounds familiar, you are likely experiencing the cycle of abuse because there is power in denial and confusion. And part of the way that they do this is by not taking any responsibility for their actions. Instead, they turn every incident to a fog of confusion. They deny their intent, they minimize your feelings, and they say things like, "You're overreacting. I didn't mean it that way. You're being so sensitive." And these phrases are not just dismissive, but they're designed to keep you questioning yourself. By confusing you into doubting your own perception of events, abusers can avoid accountability. And you're left playing these scenarios in your head, trying to figure out what really happened and when did the real issue start, because it turns into something else. It turns into your reaction. And this is emotional manipulation. It doesn't just destabilize you in the moment, it isolates you from the truth of your own experience because it makes you question your reactions now. So you stay locked in the cycle of self-doubt, unable to recognize exactly what the manipulation is. This is coercive control. It aims to break your trust in your reality. I'm going to give you a client example. I'm going to change her name. I'll just call her Sarah. Would often ask her partner to help with household chores, like the basics. Can you empty the dishwasher? The fact that she has to ask an adult to do chores in the first place is a problem. But hey, do you mind doing that load of laundry? Can you put your dish inside of the dishwasher? And he would agree in the moment and then leave everything half done. Empty half the dishwasher. Don't put the dishes in the sink. Say he would do the laundry, but all he did was nothing. Say, oh, yeah, I'm going to take care of that this weekend, then not do it. And then when she would confront him about it, hey, you said that you would help me fix this picture on the wall and we haven't been able to do it. You think you can do it today? He'd respond with, why do you always have to pick a fight? I was going to get to it later. And it'd be 6 days after he said he would do it. She'd be seeing the laundry sitting by the door or even just still in the basket wondering, he's literally just trying to wait for me to do it. And his response made her feel like she was the one at fault for being demanding, for asking too much, for being unreasonable. And this left her so exhausted, questioning all her worth if she was being unreasonable, all while he remained unaccountable. And behind that strategy is coercive control and trauma bonding, but coercive control, it's subtle, but it's effective. That goes far beyond the occasional conflict. It's a cycle of the emotional attack followed by a denial and a temporary show of affection. And this pattern, punishment, confusion, apology, hope, repeat, keeps you trapped emotionally. The intermittent kindness makes you feel like maybe it's worth staying just to get those moments of relief. And that dance between punishment and affection creates the trauma bond where you're just hooked deeper into the relationship because the one time that he emptied the entire dishwasher without her asking, she felt, oh my God, things are moving. But you're swinging between moments of hope and dread. And you question your reality because the constant undermining takes a toll on your sense of yourself. When you are gaslit, it chips away at your trust in your own perception. It can erode your sense of self-worth. You start to believe you're too sensitive, trigger chronic anxiety or self-doubt, spur cycles of responsibility shifting. You begin to believe that your feelings are invalid or that you're asking for too much, that you're imagining the harm. And so gaslighting, a core tactic used by abusers, is a deliberate effort to make you question your own reality. By denying the truth, abusers keep you emotionally tethered to them because you can't break free from the confusion that's happening. And one of the most important steps in breaking free from this dynamic is naming the pattern, recognizing that these behaviors are not just misunderstandings. It's not just forgetting. Over time, when it becomes a pattern, it does become deliberate. It's the first step of reclaiming your reality, is to name it. This feels deliberate, not accidental. It continues to happen. If someone really wanted to do it, they would do it. I asked to do it. If he really wanted to start helping, he'd get up and he would do it. Track it. You're not tracking it because you want to say there's been 16 times that you said you do something you didn't do. You're tracking it because you want to journal for yourself what happened, how it made you feel. Because writing it down helps you ungaslight yourself because you're seeing the pattern more clearly. You can set some boundaries. One of them might be, I'm not asking them for help for this thing anymore because it's just creating resentment and you can just see the pattern, right? And then if you're like, oh man, where does it go? If he doesn't use that to control, where is it going? Set firm boundaries about what you will and won't tolerate, right? If you are constantly the only person doing laundry and you've asked over and over and over again for some help, fold your laundry, fold the kids' laundry, give him his pile of laundry. I know when I say this, it might sound like, oh my God, Jessica, there's no way I could do that. And I hear you. So if that's true, start in a place that you can. I'm going to give you an example of what happened to me. So my partner, my ex-partner, always used to ask me for favors. One of our biggest fights was due to freaking quarters. Because we live in an apartment or lived in an apartment. We lived in the same apartment complex, basically, and he needed quarters to do laundry. And I literally had to watch my daughter's recital outfit for dance. And I said, I can give you quarters, but I need you to replace them. These are the last quarters I have. I need to wash this thing by Thursday. And so that was on Sunday. And he said, I will get them tomorrow, Monday, when the bank is open. And I said, I really need them. This isn't I'm not just saying it. I really need them. And I shouldn't have had to be so clarifying, but I had a feeling that by giving it to him, it was going to turn to a fight. And so I give him the quarters. The next day comes, he doesn't get it. And all day, I'm waiting for him to say, I just ran to the bank and I got you the roll of quarters. And I didn't have space in my day to do it. I didn't. It was a Monday. I had a doctor appointment. My daughter at that time didn't go to after school on just Monday. So I had to get her at 2:30. I did not have time to go to the bank. And then Tuesday is my longest day. Now that day is actually Tuesdays and Thursdays are both long, but it was a long day. And I was I could not get them. And I'm starting to freak out over the freaking quarters because I know I have to wash this thing. And when you live in an apartment, it's not easy. You have to go I have to walk to the laundry room. I have to walk all the way back. And I have to go back to dry. And I have to set a timer. And I'm just I just need the quarters. So I check in about him with the quarters. And his response is, don't you have quarters at home? And I go, no, I gave you what I had. And he goes, there's a pile of change in your thing. And I said, those are all, I do. I have this bowl of coins. They're international coins. It's a bowl of international coins, from various trips and stuff. And I said, yeah, that's my international money. I need quarters. And I said, are you not able to get the quarters? So I'm still not even calling it out. I'm still not saying, I need you to do this thing. You said you would do this thing. What I really should have said was, look, you asked for something. I gave you them with this contingency. I need them. Or I need to know if I need to go to the bank and stand on the long line and get the freaking quarters. He goes, I bet there's quarters in that bowl. And I go, are you serious right now? And so I go, I'm not doing this. That was the response. I still have the messages, the text. I say, I'm not doing it. Not doing this right now. You asked for something. I gave it to you. I need this. I'll go do it. This is Tuesday night. I get to the bank. It's closed. So I'm okay, I'll go tomorrow, whatever. I stop texting about this. And I start getting all these messages about how I'm making a big deal over nothing. And how he's sure that in that little bowl of coins, that there's coins in there. As if I don't know what's in my own house. That I don't know what's in my own apartment. Half those coins are my grandma's. I know what's in the thing. Also, it doesn't freaking matter. Because what matters is that he said he would do something and he didn't do it. And that's the problem. And so I'm getting all these messages about how he had a bad day. Now I put one more thing on him. And why would I do that? Why would I put another thing on him? And I'm sitting there and I'm watching this happen. And I'm just if you just got them on Monday morning when you said, I didn't say this, but I'm just thinking if you got it on Monday morning when you said you would, we wouldn't even have this problem because your actions and your words would have aligned and I would have felt good and I would have gotten my thing done. And, rainbows and leprechauns and everything would have been fine if you just did what you said you would do. But this was such a pattern, right? Quarters was an example of 35 other examples that had happened. It was just this one. It was, okay, you said you'd be here at 4. You're not there. I needed you to pick me up at 4 and my kid. You're not here. Where are you? Oh, I got hung up at the car dealer. The car dealership. What are you at the car dealership for? Oh, you decided to trade in your car. So you knew that you had 1 hour and that I needed a ride from this place. And you thought it was a good time to just go talk to, where was this on the radar? So all this stuff, every one of these examples, all 35, 36 examples would get turned on me. So I'm watching this freaking quarters thing happen. And I'm I am not. I just said, I'm not arguing with you. I asked you, you needed something. I gave it to you. Now the argument is about where I have quarters in my apartment and why I'm making a big deal out of something when every other time I'm flexible and all I need you to do is the thing that you said that you would do. Now I'm trying to fit this in and I'm running around to fix something that I did to help you when I wish I just said no, washed my daughter's thing. But I was trying to be flexible, right? Trying to be nice, trying to be whatever, trying to be accommodating, trying to be helpful. And so this turns into literal fucking couples therapy. And I'm just like, oh my God, like I cannot, and I'm just sitting there like I wanted to like bang my head against the wall of like, and the couples therapist, like she said, like he goes, I always have my actions. And he goes back to like, I'm sure she had quarters. And I'm just like, that's not the point. The point is that this experience, like, it's more predictable that he's not going to follow through on something rather than that he's going to follow through. Quarters at the end of the day is not a big deal. But even if he said, I'm sorry, I can't get to the bank today, I made a mistake on Monday, like that would have been so much better than it turning into me questioning if I should reach out and ask anything, knowing that this is going to be turned against me, all of this. But the thing that helped me was that I did have my journal of these other examples, and I knew that they were there. I didn't have to go back and read them because I was starting to see the patterns. I was starting to map it out. I was getting clear because first example, I probably would have been like searching through that little thing of like the jar of coins. See, now I'm messing up. I'm calling quarter. But when we go back to what's the boundary? Okay, after that incident, you know what the boundary is? I'm not flexible with that stuff anymore. He didn't like that. That's fine. I didn't like that. I didn't get the thing I needed when I needed it because it affected my kid and affected me. And like now I'm running around and blah, blah, blah. I live in a city. To get 1 mile away to the bank takes 20 minutes. So I just was like, look, I didn't even tell him the boundary. I told myself the boundary. I said, look, no. If he asks you for something that you can't do, the answer is no. If you have quarters and you don't want to give it to him, the answer is no. If he says, do you have 5 minutes? I just need to talk about something. And you know that actually means 25 minutes and you don't have the time, the answer is no. And I just started to hold myself to the boundary. It was a firm boundary. I will tell you, it led to the end of the relationship because I continued to up the ante on the boundaries. And I will continue to probably talk about that. I'm not going to get to that today, but my boundaries of him making a mess, me having to clean it up or to like caretake it and then talk about my reaction, how my reaction was bad and how it's not all the 35 things. It's like, I no longer was willing to do that. And so it led to other boundaries. It wasn't like, okay, now I'm not doing anything anymore. I just really got to know what are the things that are no's and I let it come. And I think that really helped me with the other thing that I was going to name is checking in on yourself. Am I doubting my memory because of how they're telling me it happened? Because if the answer is yes, you have to trust that you're seeing things clearly. Because I promise you that if you're asking yourself that, you probably are. And so whenever I started to feel like confused or whether I was overreacting or if my feelings were too much, I jot down what happened. And when I looked at my journal after the breakup, which was really freaking hard, I could see the pattern. He's manipulating me. I'm not sensitive. I'm not a nag. I'm not annoying. I'm not making something out of nothing. I don't have a jar full of quarters. It helped me stay grounded in my truth. And you'll hear me say this. You'll hear me say this in the Boundaries Deep Dive. You'll hear me say this across various podcasts. Boundaries are the things that help remove you from the harm. This is another one of my favorite quotes, and it's another one I have no idea where this is from. The guilt you feel for setting boundaries is a sign of how deeply you were trained to abandon yourself. And so when I really started to work on this, I stopped interpreting things through the abuser's lens. And that's what I help my clients do too, is like you stop looking for their approval or second guessing your actions. Your reality doesn't have to be dictated by their confusion anymore. And so when something feels off, I trust that there's a reason. That's why you would want to track things, write things down, document it. That's how you ungaslight yourself. Emotional abuse may be hidden from the outside world. And for like all his work buddies that he went and said, she just freaking out on me over quarters. Yeah, no, I'm freaking out that like your actions and words are fucking trash. That's why I'm freaking out. But it's your body and your instincts that know. And if it feels wrong, it's probably because it is. And I want you to call it for what it is. and lean into the resources that really help you believe your own reality. And that's really what Unhooked is about. Unhooked is about mapping out your cycle of abuse, understanding and really seeing what's going on in your relationship, what it looks like, what cycle you're in, how many different cycles there are there, and how to begin to break away from it. If you need support, please feel free to reach out to me. You can find me at emotionalabusecoach.com, high-conflictdivorcecoaching.com, Substack, Instagram, Thinkific. Everything is in the show notes. I really, really hope that this was helpful.